Rob Braun coming in on his 1970 T100S. So on today's episode of Save the Rust, we're gonna show you my buddy Rob Braun's 1970 Triumph T100S. So Rob, tell me something about your bike here. How long have you had it? When did you get it? Where did you get it?
Well, it came upon me. Some friends told me about it. A fellow in Winkler, Manitoba. He had a bunch of different bikes up for sale, and this one caught my eye for the price, $500, and that was complete. And didn't know
500
exactly
cc or 500?
It was 500 cc.
Yeah, not $500.
No. yeah, no. $3,500.
Okay.
If that's allowed to say on TV.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I guess, you know, the rims are in nice shape, the fenders are great, the original paint. So I figured, why not? You know, $3,500, and it turned out to be quite a little gem. You know, it's still for. I believe it'll need a top end for sure. If not, I'm probably going to do a complete overhaul on it, maybe this winter or the next. And of course, that was 2018, so it's 6 years of riding it all the time. But I don't take it on long rides yet. Haven't done that yet. Like we've done these rides together.
Yep.
With the old bikes.
So Rob, I don't really know a lot about Triumphs. I mean, I have a couple, but what's some of the history on these bikes? Like, how did...
I'm not a guru by any means, but I'm kind of like the unit construction kind of guy. I haven't dabbled in the pre-unit stuff. 1959 was, I think, the last year of pre-unit, which means the transmission separate from the motor. Their unit construction means they're one unit, and yeah, that was in 1960s. That all started, and 500. They did the 650 as well, where they've converted to a unit construction as well. Early 60s started, and yeah, 59 was the last year. Anyway, this T100 is 500 cc, which is really 490 cc's technically. That'd be just 500 rounded off.
How many horsepower would this have?
I think it's pretty small. 37 or 47 horsepower, something like that. 40, I think it's 47.
Okay.
And 650s per 52 or something like that. Great little revving bikes. The 500 seemed to me personally, I think the 500 was meant to be. That's what they developed in Triumph. 650 was a number, 750 was a number for sales. Yeah, T100, I guess Triumph started the designation that T100 was that it could do 100 miles an hour, and like a 650 as a T20 could do 120 miles an hour, so they presumed so.
So they're using the designations.
In the 30s, like 1930s, they started like a 250 was a T75, a 350 was a T90, and then the 500 was the T100.
So you're saying that the designation after the T for the bikes was actually the speed, the maximum speed that these bikes were.
Speed, yeah.
Oh, so I didn't know that. That's an interesting fact.
T100S, which this is an S model, that's single carb.
Oh,
it's kind
okay.
of like a base model of the 500, and then they did a C model, which had the exhaust up high. I think in the early 60s they did dual exhaust on either side, high pipes, and then 67 they did the pipes on together on one side, and Yeah, they bounce back and forth with front rim sizes for some reason. This is usually they have 19-inch, but this is an 18-inch in the front. But in 67 they were 19-inch, 18-inch in the back all the time, right?
And so this is an original bike, original paint?
This is the original paint, yeah.
Wow, it's a nice shape for 54 years old at this point.
Yeah, there's a couple of scratches, but you know, there's no dents, which is great. So in 1970, 69 they did the dual leading shoe on most Triumph 650, 500s. This one is the smaller version. I think it's 7-inch. And they did, for some reason, certain models, they did only put the 18-inch rim, like we said before, and then other ones they had 19-inch front wheels commonly, and 8-inch brakes. And 1968, 67, 68, they had the flat. It wasn't really a dual leading shoe. So this is something that was a 2-3 year thing, and then of course they went into that terrible oil and frame thing. But anyway, going through, I put a Wassel carb. I was being cheap, sorry guys. And of course, oil tank, you watch circulation all the time. It's circulating good. The motor needs to be overhauled. As you can see, it's dirty. I just ride the thing.
And as far as you know, that's still standard bore?
As far as I can tell, this I believe when I take this apart, I'm going to see standard bore on it.
That's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
And so, is that a stainless fender you have there?
Oh yeah, the fenders. There's certain import models. I think Canadian, they did a lot of, even the 650s and stuff like that. They did stainless fenders, and then the Americans, they got the painted, matching to the tank. And don't quote me on that because I'm not the guru, but I believe there's some import issue with stainless versus painted. You see American guys, they a lot of time have painted fenders that match the gas tank with stripes and stuff. There's some models, and I'm not sure why the S didn't, but they had silver here on the tank. This one doesn't. I think that's because the S model was just a entry-level 500,
Okay. And this is 6 or 12 volt?
It's a 12-volt system. I believe the wiring harness might have been changed at some point because the wiring harness looks pretty clean, and there's some switches that look pretty new looking. Of course, these are not stock. For some reason, you changed them from the stock. At some time, I'm thinking somebody might have did a mild restoration on it of some kind, because the rims are pretty clean. I know it's dirty because I'm riding it in dust and grime and stuff, but it does clean up quite good.
Yeah, the primary looks in incredible shape.
Yeah, it can be cleaned up pretty good. It still has the in 1970. They did a couple of things in 1970 that changed, where the crankcase would be. You may have to come around, Keith. There is a vent system that they put in, and that started, I believe, in the 70s, and it vents all the way around the fender here. And before that, in earlier years, they vented through the primary somehow. There was some little holes, and the air would just vent out as a crankcase vent. Yeah, the center stand works great. It has everything. Original brake switch. It hasn't been played with.
Original seat?
I think it is. And for whatever reason, I have a couple of seats, and maybe somebody out there in the comments could say something about this, is I have more than one seat, and they have this burn here. And it's more than, and I'm trying to figure out why there would have been a burn here. And was it that you smoked cigars, or was it a soldering? And I don't know if there's anybody out there, maybe in the comments, has the same experience with somehow seats with burns here.
So you've seen this a couple
yeah,
times.
I have another seat like that too, where there is right by the crotch, there's a there's a burn. And
So this is a twin cylinder with a single carb.
yes, yeah.
And the only thing I see that I know is not stock right now is this mirror. What's the deal with that?
30-year-old inventory from British Cycle, man. That's like original equipment.
Cool.
Back in the day, we loved choppers, and when we were young, like I'm almost 60 now. Well, I am 60 now, and you know, in the 80s, I got myself a 650 Triumph from Tiny Robin's, a local shop here, in 1984. And of course, we had to do stuff to them. We always had to. And now we think back, and you almost want to redeem yourself with rebuilding and making a nice stock 650 Triumph, because I had to make a chopper.
Undo your past sins.
Yeah, undo the past sins. So this is part of that. This mirror is the sort of that reminder.
Yeah. And so you've got a couple other projects on the go and other bikes you ride. I know, like Rob was saying earlier, we've done quite a few vintage rides, and it's just me and Rob here on our old bikes, because that's what we ride, and we'll go a couple thousand kilometers here and there through Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Ontario. And so tell me something about the other bikes you have right now.
Well, as you know, the 72 oil and frame, there may be some photos you could add to it, but yeah, we did those trips, and we kind of affectionately called that one the good old faithful 72 Triumph. It's not as desirable because of oil and frame, but it just rode the hell out of them. And there's something about taking these old bikes on a trip, whether it's camping or a good long day trip, with your old 45, World War II bike, and then a 72. They turn some heads a little bit, but I don't think it's really about the turning of the heads. It's more of just a different feeling when you're riding an old bike, and it's not just commuting to work or whatever, or putting it back in the garage, but actually using it all the time and stuff. And
yeah, couldn't agree more. We use them.
Different feeling you get than my brand new Evo.
Yeah. So what else are you working on? You got the 72, you've got the 70.
Yeah, I have a couple of 650 Triumphs in the works. I've got a chopper, a 4-inch over, so I guess we'll call it a chopper, and then a stock Bonneville. So I'm redeeming myself there. I'm making a chopper and I'm making a stock bike, and they can be side by side after.
And you've got a
so
BSA.
Everyone.
You got a BSA chopper you've ridden for quite a few years also.
Yeah, right. The bobber.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that one.
Yeah, I did forget about that one, and I shouldn't have. But well, the whole premise of that bike was welding and doing stuff, and you just don't get to a project like you should. And I just went out and bought that 72 Triumph so I could ride.
Yeah.
And then we did those trips, and the crazy way we met too is you selling parts, and I remember that day a little bit, but you had a Triumph frame, a 650, a two-piece frame thing, and
yep.
I can't remember exactly all the stuff, but it's like, I'm poor like a church mouse, but I want it. So you mind if I, stop in and give you $100 here, $100 there until I pay it off? I think it was $800. BSA frame and a Triumph frame, and I remember, just take it and you stop in. You were so trusting, eh? And I remember your brother stopped in, Jeremy, and he goes, "What the hell is this? You never sell anything." I said, "Well, yeah, I am today." And that was a funny moment.
Yeah.
And that's how we became friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just buying parts from a guy, and we just had to stop in, have a beer, drop off another $100, stay for another beer, drop off $100, and let's go riding. Okay.
Absolutely.
We're friends.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's when you get into the right mindset with a fellow antique guys, it works.
Yeah, exactly.
So Rob, can you start the bike for us and just kind of walk us through the procedure?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's kind of warm, so I'm not sure if it really needs much, but the carb, usually you have to fill up the bowl so it has a tickle. And people always, when you see these carbs, they always want to pump them, but they don't really work with pumping. You just hold it down, some fuel comes out like that there, and you turn the ignition on.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. See a lot of guys say, well, the choke is a funny thing. It's a second table right here, and you find a lot of the old school guys will block them off because they never work right.
Perfect.
But when she's warm, she runs good. And the table adjustment here is my choke when it's cold.
Yeah.
Turn the idle up and let it warm up. That's all you can do.
Sounds nice. Thanks, Rob, for coming out tonight and talking to us about your bike.